Well, welcome everyone to our third cooking class in this series. I'm glad that you all have joined us tonight. And for those who were not able to join us live tonight, welcome as you watch this video at some point in the future. This has been a great series, and tonight does not disappoint either. We're going to be talking about salads. Now, typically, if you go to a restaurant and you order an entree and you say, "Oh, I'd like a house salad with that," what do you get? You get a bunch of iceberg lettuce, maybe a tomato, maybe a little carrot if you're lucky. And salads have so much more dimension than that. And we're going to find out tonight from Rachel and her team all of the creative and wonderful things that you can do with salad to make it exciting. And so with that, I want to offer a prayer to open us up, and then I'm going to turn things over to Rachel. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all of the green things that you created that we can eat, all of the vegetables and the deliciousness that you have provided for us. I ask that you will be with Rachel as she shows us how to use these to improve our health tonight. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay, and with that, Rachel, I'm going to spotlight and turn things over to the cooking team.
Hello, everyone. So excited to see you all. We are not just doing salads today. I'm sorry, Doug, I didn't quite get everything communicated to you. We're doing different things with greens. And so my first one is not going to be a salad. I'm going to cook some collard greens for you. We're going to do a variety. We have, I think four different greens that we're working on. We have cabbage. We're going to do collards, Swiss chard, and kale, and spinach. So we do have five. We have five. And so we're going to give you some different ways to use those and show you how they can be interchangeable as well. So for time's sake, I went ahead and started these collard greens. I started onions for them because collard greens actually take a little while to cook. So but again, I just started the onions so you didn't have to watch me saute them for 5 minutes. And I'm going to just add a lot of garlic to these. Collard greens, I've had people tell me they taste like wet cardboard before. And you have to add flavor to them. So wet leaves, wet cardboard, they have to have some flavor. So the onions help with that. And then I'm going to microplane, which is essentially a zester, garlic into this. Lots of garlic, lots of onions make collard greens taste fantastic. So with that, and also some tomatoes that I'm going to throw in here in just a second. And we're going to cook those down just a little bit. The reason I like using a microplane for this is it just really crushes it really fast and easy. And you can see how it kind of comes out like strings, but it's crushed. And it'll cook up just in a couple of minutes, and I can do it over a hot pan really easily. A lot of people like to use garlic presses. I've just never owned a garlic press that I thought worked well. So I have done this for years. And I'm adding quite a lot of garlic, but if you see this giant bowl of greens that I have over here, you know why I'm going to add a lot of garlic. All right, so I got that started. And then I'm going to throw some tomatoes in here. And this is just a couple of chopped tomatoes. Get that started. And then while this is cooking down, I'm going to show you my lovely son today went ahead and destemmed all of my collard greens. Now you can buy collard greens in the store already prepackaged. And they have, they'll still have the stems on them. And collard greens have really tough stems in the middle. And I don't like chewing them. Just takes too long. So anyway, he just stemmed all of them. You can see that they're half leaves at this point. Now, the way that I like to cut collard greens, I like to cut them very thin because they cook faster. And I just like the way that they come out better. So to cut them really thin, you can just lay several sheets of collard greens, several leaves of collard greens, and roll it. And you just roll them really tight. You get them into a nice roll here, and then you can just slice them really thin, all the way down, and fairly quickly. It takes a lot of collard greens to make an amount of a nice dish of them for a lot of people. We made collard greens one time for dinner with the doctor, and I believe we had, do you remember how many, Nicole? How many bunches of collard greens we cut down? Loads and loads. So many collard greens. And then when we got done with them, there was just this tiny little bit of collard greens. They cook down wonderfully. And again, the trick with collard greens is you want to cook them for quite a while, and because they do shrink down, but they get really tender, and that's when they are the best, in my opinion. One of my favorite ways to eat these is in an Ethiopian restaurant. They cook collard greens down. They call it, oh dear, what do they call it? Gomen, I think is what it's called in Ethiopian restaurants. And they cook them down until they're really, really tender, and they're just so delicious. I just love them. So I'm gonna go ahead and cook these off screen, but as you can see, I'm just gonna add a few, and this whole entire thing will go in here. I know this doesn't look like it's possible, but it will be. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this to the side and let them cook down. And we're gonna work on a salad. We're gonna do a kale salad, yes? What's that? No, you're gonna go do your kale salad next, right?
Oh, I am.
I think we're headed for kale salad. I'm gonna just move this out of the way, and we can talk through your kale salad while I'm stirring in collard greens. How's that work?
That sounds fine.
All right.
Okay, for our collard, we're gonna do kale, and we've already gotten it already washed and cut up and de-stemmed, so we just have the nice curly part. And we're going to just drizzle a little bit of oil, olive oil, and then I get 5 minutes of massaging the leaves.
Now, why do you massage the leaves of kale?
That is so that it will be soft and you'll be wanting to eat it.
Because it's pretty tough otherwise, huh?
Otherwise, it's tough when it's raw, but when you work with it, it gets soft.
Now, this is
salt.
a little bit of salt. Where is the salt?
Right here.
Okay, not use some salt. If I can find it. There you go.
So we just need to work it.
Little salt.
Just a little. Yep, great.
Now there's actually what, two kinds of kale? This is the curly leaf kale, or it's sometimes called dinosaur kale. And it's really tough. There's also another type of kale called lacinato kale. And it looks more like, it doesn't have as many ridges to it. I'm trying to think of what you would compare it to. It's like more like a charred leaf, which we're gonna show you later. And so you can, when you have the tougher kale, you have to massage it more to get the, what am I trying to say? to get it to soften, yeah, so it's more pleasurable to chew. And I'm cooking these collard greens down. As you can see, they're starting to cook down a little bit, so I can add some more. And they smell really good. Yes.
Oh,
Now,
I need some lemon juice.
there are all types of kale salads. This one I know is delicious. There's so many variations you can do, and if you
drizzle on here,
when you use the method of massaging it, you'll actually really start to enjoy kale salad.
That's good.
Here we go. Massaging.
Okay, I'm also putting lemon juice in this to massage into the leaves.
So your salt is helping to release some of the moisture in it as well. And then just the process of going over each leaf and getting it broken down is helpful. You can see these collard greens are just going like crazy. My bowl is getting. All All right. I'll move off and maybe I'll let you go ahead and start your cabbage salad while she's massaging that. You're gonna be massaging a while and I'm gonna be cooking a while here. So I'm gonna look that up.
Okay. Now we promised a green night tonight, but we went with purple cabbage instead of green cabbage. And the reason is actually purple cabbage is a higher nutrition value than you get with the green. And also because not everybody uses it. I think that's yours.
Okay.
So
Why don't people use it? Do they not like the taste of it or?
it can
Is it
do,
just purple?
it can sometimes be a little coarser.
It's coarser?
Sometimes, that's why you want to make sure you notice it's pretty small.
How did you shred it so fine? Did you use a knife?
No.
You did something different, didn't you?
I used the Warner shredder. Well, where am I here?
You're there. It's up
Am
on
I
the-
there?
on the left.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a shredder, and it's nice that you can get the V. You don't want the one that comes straight across. That doesn't do as good a job as a straight V. And it has this top that makes it really thin or makes it thicker. So whichever way you turn it, you can have that. It has other fixtures too, but that's the one I use for this one.
So if somebody was looking for one of those in a store, what would you look for?
It used to be you could get it at the outlets up in, where's that called? Gatlinburg area.
Somerville.
But they've closed all the kitchen stores.
Oh dear,
And so you'll have to go online to get that.
to get that particular one.
Yeah. Or-
Now, there are mandolins that you can get in other stores. That's what that is, right?
That's a
Essentially,
mandolin.
it's mandolin.
I don't know. Have you seen it, Bed Bath Beyond?
I have seen one at Bed Bath & Beyond. That's where I obtained mine at one point.
It comes and goes, so go look.
Yeah, go look for one there, or definitely look online. And they have so many uses, right? You can use them for
Yes.
other vegetables
Yes.
and make them
Oh, yes.
even size.
Yes, especially for julienne. If you want to julienne something like, my mother lives with us, and to make her a soup, I julienne the vegetable thing because it gives it variety,
Yeah.
rather than just, and she gets maybe tired of the same thing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So it gives variety just to cut it a different shape.
Different
And
shape and consistent as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and shape and consistency.
Mhm.
Okay, with this purple cabbage salad, which is very delightful and very colorful, I want to show you the delight of the color here. We've chosen to use peanuts in this. We just chopped some peanuts. And so we put the peanuts in. We put in a little bit of coconut. Now, coconut, you could use any nut. You could use chopped pecans, chopped walnuts, any nut you like. But we chose peanuts this time. And then, okay, the coconut, you could use cranberries, raisins. And then for flavor, this is quite a bit of dill, but with this salad, it's wonderful. So you can put dill
And that's
in.
fresh.
And then, oh yes, definitely fresh dill weed, not the seed, the weed. And then I was going to get sweet onion. I have to apologize. I completely forgot it. So we're just using a little less regular white onion. Or you could use green onion if you have that available. And then celery. You could use an apple instead of celery. But today we've decided on, let me think here. We've decided on celery. And there's a lot of variety you can use. Okay, now take a look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And I forgot the mayo.
Oh,
Hold on.
that looks like a nice crunchy salad.
Yes.
The celery's got its crunch and the peanuts have a crunch. And your onions are gonna have a little crunch. It'll be a nice crunchy salad.
And this is the binder. Here's the
Vegenaise.
vegetables.
Now, do you always use vegenaise or do you use the different different ones. I know like Hellman's makes one now that you can get that's plant-based.
I pretty much would stick with this.
Stick with
Because I
veggies.
know what to expect.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But there are several out there. I know there was one that was called Just Mayo that was around for a while, but I don't think they have that except a few places I think have it now. But Vegenaise is one, and I know Hellman's sells one that's on that you can buy that's shelf stable.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice to have if you can only find it once in a while.
Okay, and that's it. Now, let's see.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, but isn't that beautiful? I have to say this. God has an incredible color coding system that is just wonderful. If your meal is colorful, it's well balanced. If it is not colorful, it is not well balanced. You can actually have a meal of winter squash that's orange and carrots that are orange and you want to have a variety, not any one color. So I will go off camera and let Rachel move in or Michelle.
Okay,
Let Michelle finish that stuff. I'm trying.
after I have massaged the kale, I mixed up the rest of some lemon juice, some oil, some olive oil. And now it's gotten thick, so I'm gonna pour that over the kale. I'm gonna add some toasted pumpkin seeds. And some mango for color, as well as some red peppers.
Yum. How delicious.
And I like to use my hands.
I don't know if you can tell how much that kale is broken down, but it is a significant amount. She had it like up to here.
Isn't that beautiful?
And all that color. More balance of the meal. And it smells amazing.
There we go.
Simple and done. That's awesome.
So the only
takes your 5
time,
minutes, huh?
yeah, the only time is massaging the kale.
I've got
Okay.
half of my. Show me here. I have about half of my collard greens in. It's cooking down nicely. Again, it'll probably take about 20 to 25 minutes for my collard greens to get down, but absolutely delicious when served with. I like to put them on cornbread or just eat them in tortillas or just eat it with rice. I'm gonna keep going with this. We're gonna come with the next recipe here in a moment. Which one do we want to do next? Pesto?
I'm still mixing this. Are you ready?
No, because I need one of these.
Oh, I took your spot, didn't I?
I need one of the electric fillets.
Okay, well, let me figure out what we can do. Hold on, we have one technical difficulty and then we'll fix that and we'll be right back here. If you want to dump this, we can dump this into something. Okay, real quick. And then you can have this one back. And I'll put the rest of it. Stock container. We're using too many cooking. We want to be able to show you right here where we're cooking from. Stole her, that's okay, her device here. We'll put it in another pan. Sorry.
No problem. That's the joy of cooking.
It is. Moving from one pan to the next.
Okay.
Well, wanting to make it accessible for everyone to see.
There we go.
So there, I'll keep all my collards to myself.
Okay.
And we'll let you go to it.
Okay.
And it's already on. You want it on? I got it on about 300. Is that too much?
That's good.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Move out of here.
All right. So what we're gonna do is maybe sometime you want to have a side dish of something green because you have all the other colors, but you need something green and you could use spinach, walnuts and cranberries and make a delightful side dish. So we're going to take some garlic. I'm going to use the zester. Get the garlic in there. Add some water.
Like microplaning too, huh?
Sure.
An unusual way to use it. Another way to use a zester.
Okay, and then we need the water.
And it's, you need a spoon to stir too, don't you?
Right here.
Right here. Haven't been in Nikki's kitchen enough.
Yes, there we go. Stir this around and we want to keep it going until the garlic sends out a fragrance. And I love the fragrance of garlic, so
Oh, yes.
don't laugh at me.
Garlic, if you're not cooking with garlic and onions, you're not really cooking right.
That's my second name, you know, garlic.
Gotta have that garlic in there.
Okay, as this is cooking, it's breaking down, then we need to finish. See how quickly this can cook down. Okay, we're ready for,
What you need?
as this cooks.
Wow.
I think
The
that's,
lid.
Yep.
Can you see how tall that is? Like it's,
way up there.
yeah, like way up there.
Okay,
Above, a whole hand's breadth above. We got that going. There's a few little stragglers stuck in, in there. There we
Okay.
go. And
all
we're
right.
gonna let that cook
And
down
that'll
here.
cook down for just a few minutes.
And I'm trying to burn something over here, so.
We're gonna put it into a bowl. We're gonna mix it with some cranberries and walnuts. And you have a spinach dish.
So while that's cooking down, you're gonna bring your salad back, right?
Yep, it's
I'm
done.
gonna show our other salad. Nikki's got her salad here, the purple cabbage salad that she was working on. She's bringing it back here. So many good healthy greens that we can eat, so many creative ways that we can eat them. She's got it right here. Oh, it's so beautiful. A purple salad. That smells good too. I like the smell of it. So there we have our purple salad, our purple cabbage salad. Oh, it looks so good. I want to eat it now. And then we're headed to pesto. And we're gonna have fun with pesto. Nikki is coming to show us some different stuff we can do with pestos.
Okay, we need a plug-in.
Right here.
I think that's all
She's
over
got
here. Okay. Okay, pesto. Is there anyone who doesn't know what pesto is?
Has anybody ever not had pesto? Yep, I need to give you some room, don't I?
Some people really live by pesto and others don't even know it exists and don't mind that they don't know. Example, my mother who can't stand garlic in spite of all the enthusiastic garlicers around here. Okay, pesto. We're going to make two kinds. Generally speaking, most pestos are made with basil. And so we have about approximately a cup of basil here. Now, this is a very special basil. It comes from Rachel's garden, the first fruits.
It is the first fruits. I'm so excited.
And that's a very great sacrifice. Now, pesto is very strong, so you want to cut down the strength of the flavor. Sorry, it's spinach is coming everywhere.
Just a little bit,
Oh, you're right.
just so we can show how much
Okay.
greens. Now that's a lot of spinach. I know I couldn't eat that much spinach if I wanted to. At one time, it would take,
If it were cooked down, you
Wow.
could.
it's cooked down, or if it's blended up in pesto, right?
Yes, those two ways. There are ways of doing it.
That's what we're trying to do, get more greens in
Yes.
without chewing them a whole lot.
Okay, so we have a cup of packed basil. We have 2 cups of packed spinach. Now we're going to go into garlic, toss in a couple of garlic, and then 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice.
We should have themed this one greens and garlic. We love our garlic around here.
Everything tastes better.
Mhm.
Nafel has been working on a project with me, and bless her heart, everything she wanted to just fill with garlic, and I was trying to keep it moderate. She kept filling it with garlic. Then my daughter comes and she wants more garlic. It was hard. Anyway, so we got the lemon juice, and then we have the brewer's yeast. And the next on the ingredient is pine nuts or walnut pieces. For the sake of the cost, we're going with walnuts. Traditionally, pine nuts are used because it's a higher fat content. Then 1/4 cup EVO,
Extra virgin olive
extra
oil.
virgin olive
Yes,
oil.
yes.
But we don't want to put the oil in until we have started blending this down.
Right. And that's big for consistency purposes.
Yeah.
Right there.
Let's see if we get
There
some of
you
that
go.
bottom.
Sometimes Vitamixes gets stuffed up in the bottom. We don't have the tamper with us today, do we? There's a little stick that goes in the bottom through the lid where
Is that
the
down
hole
here?
is. And you have a tamper for yours?
Yeah, you want to start this and I'll go get it?
Sorry, that was loud.
Yeah, we finally got it broken down. after it gets to this point, you add the oil because the oil will thicken it.
I don't want to leave any mayonnaise in this as well. Leave it in that.
You don't want the oil to make it thin.
Wow, that's so easy. It's wow, but it's easy, right?
Yeah, add a little water, obviously, if it won't mix right. Now, I don't think we have time for this, but I was going to.
We have time.
We have time?
We have time.
Okay.
Let me watch or get this stuff out of the blender and I'll let you. Nicole can show her spinach there. And we'll get the.
Let me just grind this one more time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not quite
sure.
done.
All right. We're gonna grind this one more time and then we're gonna show you how the spinach is coming. All right. Yeah. Just need a spatula. Maybe the
spatula's right here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay,
Then
here's
we'll
the
get it ready.
spinach
Let's get
with the walnuts. If you can see it, and the cranberries. So that, look how much the spinach broke down and just wilted. But it's a nice bright green and it looks wonderful. Okay,
We're back to.
You don't
You
have
want
to
a
take
mixed
it all
flavor?
out. Yeah.
We're gonna have a mixed flavor.
All right.
And all that spinach that went into this one little container, it's always amazing to me, like how.
That's how much it broke down with blending. It went from being up here with the raw to being like this. But what you do with pesto,
Oh, so many
Um,
things.
I like to use it in sandwiches. Like if you make a simple tomato sandwich or a cucumber sandwich or tomato lettuce, whatever,
Mhm,
just a little bit of pesto is all you need on your bread.
mhm.
And it's just wonderful. You
Oh,
can
yes.
use it on pastas instead of spaghetti sauce. You can, what are some of the things you do?
We like to do that too. We do it on sandwiches, or you can do, I like to just put it on a piece of bread and put a piece of tomato on with it. So you have the tomato and pesto, because I just love the flavor of basil and tomatoes together. Let's see, what else have I done with it? We'll even just sit and eat it with crackers. That's how
Yeah,
much we like it.
It's a great dip.
It is, it's
a great dip.
wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to try.
Okay, this time we're going to make it just a little bit different. We're going to use a totally different herb. Instead of using basil, there it is. Instead of having basil, this is sage. I have a wonderful sage plant out in my herb garden, and it had just a cup of leaves.
Oh, wow.
We're going to put this in, and there's a significant difference in flavor between sage and basil pesto. But it's a very nice flavor if you have fresh sage available.
Now, I am gonna ask you a question. You put some stuff in here that what you call brewer's yeast. Can you
Yes.
explain, like, what does brewer's yeast do for pesto?
Flavor, it mellows the flavor.
It mellows the flavor. What kind of flavor does brewer's yeast have, or often called nutritional yeast?
Well, I think the flavor for that is cheese-like. It's not cheese, it's cheese-like. If you put it on your popcorn, when you pop popcorn, you know, if you put a little bit of oil, spray a little oil on it.
Mm-hmm.
Before you start mixing that in, spray on a little, or sprinkle on a little bit of brewer's yeast flakes. Gives it a nice little cheesy flavor, although it is not cheese, but it doesn't completely taste like cheese, but it's sufficient for me.
Now, most pestos traditionally have cheese in them, right?
Yes.
They usually use Parmesan cheese or whatever, so this kind of gives that flavor without using the cheese.
Right.
Yes, okay.
And it's much better for you.
Yes, yes.
And also brewer's yeast is a very healthy yeast. It has a lot of things to recommend it. It's not just a flavoring. It's low
The same thing. I know. Notice that if you create a pocket in it, it
Yeah.
usually, yeah, you know too. We were just talking about how when you put the nuts at the bottom, it'll blend faster. And usually easier. And again, if we have the tamper for the top of it, the thing that goes down, this would go a little faster.
This tamper isn't long enough.
But yeah,
It's not
hers
gonna
is
go
a
further
further.
than that.
Yeah. So we're doing this unconventionally here. Vitamix would not recommend it. Some extra noise, but still just amazing. Now pesto you can do a lot of different stuff with, as she was saying, but there's also limitless ways of making it. You can use cilantro, which she was showing you how you could use sage, use cilantro, you could use parsley, you could use a mixture of cilantro and basil and parsley. I've made, I think we have a recipe on our website too, where you can use kale instead of spinach. There's lots of other ways that you can make it. You can throw so many different kinds of greens that you might be playing with, or just have leftovers in your refrigerator and you're like, they're not past their prime, and you can just use those anytime as well. The last thing we're going to show you how to make today is scrambled tofu, which maybe some of you are like, what is scrambled tofu? Well, we none of us eat eggs, and so we use tofu for a substitute. Sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice for some reason. Tofu is lots of fun to use. It's made out of beans, soybeans, which probably many of you have maybe tried it. And this is how it comes, just in a cube form. And tofu has absolutely no flavor. If you haven't ever used it before, it has no flavor of its own, except a little bit of beanie flavor if you don't rinse it off. So this has been rinsed, and before we started this, because I didn't want you all have to sit here through my sauteing, I have sauteed some peppers, some red and yellow peppers, and I've also sauteed some onions and mushrooms in this pan. And this recipe is so easy, but so delicious. And I'm just gonna crumble my tofu in here. You can do this with your hands, or you can do it with the spoon, and just kind of do it in some big chunks, because you're gonna stir it pretty frequently. You don't want to break it down too much. So since I've already done one part of it, it's gonna be pretty easy. Now you're like, but this doesn't have anything to do with greens, Rachel. What are you doing? Why is there's no greens in here? Well, this recipe has some chard added to it. I'm going to add it here at the end. And I'm going to show you what chard looks like. So we had some fun with this. If you've never used chard before, I've seen it in health food stores before I moved one time used to live in Missouri, and I never really saw it much in Missouri. But we had some friends in California who grew chard, and their chard plant was huge. The leaves, like you can see, these leaves are huge. Like here's my hand, and it's covering my entire hand. But theirs was probably as big as my arm. The whole leaf was just humongous. And this one's a pretty chard. You can always recognize chard by its by the veins in it. It's very colored. Where collard greens are green, chard has pretty colors. And my son also helped me destem these. And this is rainbow chard. So we had all sorts of colors, which is so much fun to have. You can see there's a red and a kind of pinkish one, and a orange one, and a yellow one. And then you have these beautiful green leaves on top of it after that. And chard cooks down very similarly to spinach. And so it adds a lot of health nutrition with all of the different colors in it. You can see that it's got that. And I forgot to mention, I'm going to add all these spices to this. So we have onion powder, again, the nutritional yeast, which is going to add some depth of flavor to this. And then a seasoning called McKay's, which is a chicken style seasoning. You could use any kind of chicken like seasoning, or even a vegetable seasoning if you wanted. And I'm going to put this in here, and it will make my scramble more yellow and look more like eggs. I'm probably going to need to put turmeric in it. I do usually put turmeric in it. I think I forgot to put the turmeric in this example, but I usually add turmeric as well. And you told me you use carrots, right? Sometimes. Oh, we have turmeric. Yay! I'm going to add a little turmeric here. This just adds a little color. You don't add too much because it'll change the flavor if you add too much, and then it tastes like turmeric. Which turmeric doesn't taste bad, but that's not what we're going for in this. So again, I'm just gonna start stirring this. I think I need a little water to this because I dried out my peppers and onions too much. And you can use the recipe that I have posted for you. It uses extra firm tofu, but as long as it's firm or extra firm, that's what you're going for. You would want to avoid silken tofus. Those are made for desserts and things like that. They don't quite come out in the same texture. This is a water packed tofu versus a vacuum packed tofu. And so after we do this, we're going to add this chard. And this can all cook up together. I have quite a bit. Chard cooks down like spinach does too, so you can use a lot. And I rolled it up the same way that I do collard greens. So you get these nice long skinny strands of chard. I showed my son how to do that today. He was fascinated with curling it up. Oops, and I'm throwing stuff all over the counter here. And so another very healthy way to eat greens and get more greens in your diet, in your breakfast, in your lunch, in your dinners. We like to put these in wraps and do like burritos with this, or serve it with a side of potatoes. With pesto. Yeah, potatoes with pesto. That's another great way to eat pesto. I can't even talk today. So, another delicious way to do it. Now, I think that pretty much does it for us tonight. We need to show the collard greens maybe one more time to show how they cook down. Okay. And I'm gonna keep adding chard to this. It's so good for you. Another thing I forgot to mention is you can buy, I said you could buy prepackaged collard greens, but you can also buy prepackaged kale. Again, you have to deal with the stems. And chard, I have actually found it frozen in Walmart's frozen foods, like in the vegetables. So you can buy a lot of that stuff already packaged if you don't feel like cutting it up and de-stemming it, all of that. So come on in.
Since we have a little bit of extra time, my husband has a burden for this to be shown.
Oh, okay.
Because our grandson likes eating broccoli at my house, but he doesn't like eating it at his grandparents, or at his parents, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Anyway, the reason is that if you buy just, they're selling it by crowns now.
Mhm.
And if you buy it by crowns or in a cluster, whichever, you don't know how old that broccoli is.
No, you don't.
And because of that, this skin can get really tough. So without exception, whenever I buy broccoli,
You peel it.
I peel that outer chew, and it doesn't ever chew, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it
doesn't
stops people
cook down.
from wanting to actually, you just pull that outer shell off. And then it doesn't matter really how old the broccoli is, it's still tender. And then the kids all like it when you do it now.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you peel that off, you can also do that with cauliflower.
Life-changing information. Life-changing information
Well, I
here.
don't know about that. But if somebody in your house does not like the tough skin on the exterior of the broccoli, this really makes a difference to peel that off. Now, another thing I learned when I was living in Russia,
Mhm.
I worked with this very conservative lady there. And one day we had just finished a head of cabbage.
Mhm.
And what do you do with the stem of the cabbage?
Usually toss it in the compost.
You toss it in the compost.
No.
She was horrified.
Oh, no.
She says, just peel that off, cut the worst part off. And she says, it's like a radish stick.
Oh.
And it's mild and it's wonderful. And I've never thrown the core of the cabbage away again.
Oh, how
It's a
interesting.
nice mild radish. Just since we have
Shredded
time.
up.
Yeah.
Put it in the salad.
Yeah, or you can put it in the salad. Yeah, shredded.
You learn something new every day, and that goes for me as well. Man, now I know what to do with all my cabbage that's left over the stems. And now to peel broccoli. I never even thought about peeling broccoli. That's amazing. All right. And you can see this tofu is done already with all that chard in it. Cooked down. Hardly looks like I even put any in it. All right. And we can show these collard greens that we started at the beginning. Show you how they eventually, when you cook them long enough, they start to get creamy almost. And you could probably do them in the Instant Pot too. If you have an Instant Pot at home, they're fantastic for cooking down greens and things. So we'll show you those. And if any of you have any questions, please let us know. See those.
Okay,
Do
this
you
is
have the
all.
overhead, Sean? That is all the collard greens. You can see they cook down pretty well.
Okay, and let's put this out. Take this off.
Yes.
Let's put
So
everything
we're
out.
gonna show you everything that we made here. I'm gonna move some stuff because we got cords everywhere.
Okay.
All this. And the
Yes.
spinach.
2 pestos.
Oh,
That's
spinach. Yeah. Yes.
so we did get a lot of green.
We did. Everything is green, but we have hints of other colors too. You can see the red and the orange and the yellow and yes, and the purple.
Yes.
Purple cabbage.
Okay, one
All
more.
right.
One more.
One more. She's got something else she's gonna share with us. Tips from Mickey. I love this. That's the fun thing about cooking with other people is you learn different methods that people do things that you never
One
would
more
have.
green.
Oh, one more green. You learn new things that you never would have even dreamed of coming up with, or methods that you've never even tried. It's just fantastic to work with other people. All right. You can see all of our green and all of the beautiful ways that you can eat greens, not just in salad, but in salad too. Does anybody have any questions for us? No, I think everybody's muted, so I don't think anybody has any questions, maybe.
Right. I think we have a smaller group tonight and
We do.
everyone is muted. But this was great. Obviously, greens extend far beyond salads. I think I looked on the recipes online and the first 3 were salads. So I didn't keep scrolling.
That
But
does sometimes.
I have a
Those are-
question for you, Rachel.
okay,
Sure.
great.
With your scrambled tofu that you made, do you ever put the charred stems in that, or did you just use those for something else?
So I didn't this time, but they will add a nice chew to it if you want to put it in there. When you buy it frozen, they're also, they don't take the stems off of them. But I would probably throw them in something else if they don't end up in my compost, or if I don't find out another way to use them. Thank you.
All right, well, great. Thank you everyone for joining tonight. And this will be a video on YouTube very soon. And you all have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Bye-bye.